Episode number 54 of Fit for Life Radio. Your hosts, I am Gary.
I am Will.
I am Will. I am Legend.
That's
This is
what it
kind of
feels like right now.
a
Holy
Will
shit.
Smith, waiting for Will Smith to just be walking down the street.
Nah.
Well, so here we are in the middle of having to shut down the gym, physical location, and everyone else.
And the rest of the world.
Gyms shutting down. So obviously we were going to do a podcast on topic with everything going on, and there's like a million of them on how to strengthen your immune system. We even have a ebook guide floating around out there as well. So we figured what most people might want to hear is all the questions that, well, our clients have, right? Kind of stuff they're experiencing in the midst of this. So we're going to answer some questions from our clients,
Let's
which
go through it.
a lot of you that listen are our clients and people from all over. Got listeners out there in Australia.
Especially if you got nothing to do.
Where else we got? Australia.
Ireland.
There was one country.
Shit. Estonia.
Shout out. If you're all locked down, hopefully these questions will help. They're really good. So we're just going to kind of plow through them. So first one, a lot of people may be wondering. So one of our clients, Garnet, she asked how to amp up the home workouts. So this is a good question, and it's funny because we were talking about this as we were doing our programming.
Yep.
And like me personally, so you see every gym and all this, we're gonna be live streaming workouts, doing home workouts, and home workouts are great, and we're posting them too. But a lot of our clients probably notice we have a huge emphasis on your needs, walking, and nutrition. Because the problem with home workouts, and it's great because you're doing something and you're keeping the habit. Maybe you're doing it during your regular exercise time slot. You're being active. But as far as intensity and really amping them up, the ironic thing with home workouts, they're typically body weight training based. And body weight training is pretty advanced to significantly kind of like get a lot out of it.
Yeah, to get a training effect, there's a lot of skill involved with it. And
just general strength, right? Because you're moving your entire body weight.
Exactly.
So let's use, for example, the great thing about resistance training, say a dumbbell press, is you can meet the person where they're at with their current strength levels. So if someone needs to press 20 pounds dumbbells, so 40 pounds total, and that's where they're at, and they're failing in 7, 8, 9 reps, that's perfect, right? Well, a true push-up, like that's almost your entire body weight, right? And then so you start talking about things like push-ups, dips, chin-ups, those rear foot elevated split squats. Those are all ways to like amp up your at-home training.
And they're difficult.
But they're very difficult, right? So the general answer is like get stronger, like be stronger, and then you can do the more advanced body weight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't help everyone right away.
No.
But then our other thing is, treat it more like this is I'm just checking my box, keeping the habit, and then use extra time and focus on your needs and your nutrition. Yep. So really that's like where we're at. That's what our focus is as a gym. Because ultimately for a lot of people, the at-home workouts are really just going to be forms of cardio because it's not going to be enough to stimulate like more strength and muscle building because it's actually too much weight to handle properly. So you end up having to kind of just do a lot lighter stuff and just kind of move through it, shorter rest periods, and just elevating your heart rate slightly. So it's ultimately glorified. It's like boot campy cardio, right?
But it's still like you're going to maintain your muscle and all that. So it's a good way to at least keep that.
Now, to help answer in the here and now, a good way to amp up home workouts are so you do things like shorten the rest period. Make sure you're pushing. Most programs you're gonna have to give a rep range. Like it'll be like 8 sets of, or I'm sorry, 8 sets.
Jesus.
four sets of 8 to 12, right? But if you're doing push-ups and you can get 16, like go get 16. Don't just stop at 12. You need to be pushing your sets close to failure. And I promise anyone, if you do a rear foot elevated split squat and push it close to failure, like you're
going to be dying.
Yeah. So, almost ignore, just push your sets to failure. And then also shorten your rest periods. That's going to, make things suck more.
Especially when you're supersetting something like, push-ups and split squats. You could pretty much do those almost back to back. And, they're opposing movements, so you're going to be completely fine with
and then just
rocking them out.
Understanding, like, they're not going to compare to your gym workouts.
Nah.
There's just yeah, because you don't have access to the same equipment. There's a reason like gym workouts and gyms exist, and most people prefer it because you are kind of limited with home workouts, body weight training, especially if your strength levels aren't to where you can handle your body weight. So yeah, you have to just almost put it in a different box and treat
Mm-hmm.
it differently, and not look to get this like huge, massive,
Yeah, like you're
amazing.
probably not going to keep progressing on your deadlift by doing home workouts. And it's cool. Like it's fine to do that because, we're all kind of dealt the hand we're dealt right now. And there's zero that we can do to change it until,
Yeah,
the situation changes. So you just do what you can within your context, where you're at and what you have.
yeah,
And that's just doing body weight workouts. And like Gary said, take them to failure. And that's probably your best bet for keeping your intensity high with the low rest.
yeah. The bullet point list is short term. Shorten your rest periods. Make sure your intensity is high in the stuff you're doing. You are pushing close to failure. And then long term, yeah, when you're in the gym, really focus on getting leaner because the less body weight you carry means the more efficient you're going to be with your body weight. And then be getting stronger, right? Then when you find yourself needing to do it at home workout and you can go and you can knock out dips and chin ups, like you'll be set.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you'll be amping things up.
Faux show.
So next is
We want to go into neat
yeah with Kelly.
because that's kind of I don't know.
Kelly had a couple questions, so we'll answer both of them. So the first one's neat. So
What
non-ex.
if she was just saying like
Yeah, this is neat.
that's neat.
So neat is non-exercise uh,
Activity,
activity thermogenesis.
thermogenesis.
So I always thought it always throws me off. I feel like it should be the last two should be flip-flop.
Yeah.
But it's essentially so. I wish we had a graph to show you, but if you saw like your metabolism and what it is, and then like in a pie chart, so say that yeah, the amount of calories we burn in a day, like 60-70% of it, 60% of it is based off of like your metabolic rate, so your lean body mass, right? So if you just laid in bed all day and did nothing, you would burn majority of the calories that you'd burn in a day from just laying there. So like that's why a lot of times when people are like, I burned 700 calories working out this hour. Well, you would have burned 250 if you're just laying in bed too.
Yeah.
So like, don't you almost gotta subtract all that. So that's where people get in trouble when they start trying to cut out or eat the calories they burn.
Yep.
But anyways, so you have that. Then you have the calories you burn from a workout. Say you burn those 300 or 400 calories, has to go in beast mode. Then you have
You almost said hashtag beast mode.
you have your calories burned from actually eating, so just to digest and process food.
Especially protein.
That's your TEF. So, yep. And so the more higher percentage of protein your diet is, the more thermic effect of eating you have. Then you have the second biggest component. So your actual formal exercise and your TEF, your thermic effect of eating, are smaller. Muscle mass, lean body mass is the biggest. The second biggest is your NEAT. So that's the activity you do, like fidgeting, even brain activity, walking, things like that. And it's important to separate it from the other stuff because this is just super low intensity stuff. Like that's not going to cause like you to need to recover from it.
It's not going to impact that at all. Like you should be able to just do it.
Yeah. So the
and do it
benefit
every day.
is it doesn't burn a lot of calories like in a given like you're not going to burn a ton of calories in 20 minutes of walking
No.
of NEAT, but you're able to do a lot and it has no effect except it's going to just burn that low level energy calories, right? So NEAT is the second biggest component of your metabolism,
Yep.
right? So most people are better off like getting as much NEAT in as they can, so walking more.
That's why we encourage walking so much.
Yeah.
And then something to remember, because it doesn't impact your recovery, like there's no detriment to it. Whereas if you were doing like super high intensity workouts every single day, that's going to beat you down and there's going to be some type of negative impact. Your joints are going to start hurting or your metabolism's probably going to start to slow down. But with NEAT, your NEAT, that doesn't happen. And you can just continue to do it with little impact to how you feel overall.
Yeah. And we've been emphasizing it with our current clients because, yeah, they can't go to the gym. They're not going to be able to amp up their regular workouts the way they want. they might be quarantined or trying to stay in, so they have more free time. So the perfect thing to do is go walk more.
Yep.
The problem is people feel like they're not doing much, but in the big picture, I mean, look at the sport and athletes whose literal goal of their sport is to get as lean as possible and maintain muscle. That's bodybuilders.
What do they do?
They don't do HIIT.
Nope.
They do strength training and walk
Yeah,
and
they
stair
hit
mill.
like treadmill in the morning and then weights in the evening or whatever
So,
they do.
yeah, and then we could do a whole podcast on it. Then the other benefits, well, you're going outside, you're breathing fresh air, you're
Get your
getting
vitamin
vitamin
D.
D. So it's just a no-brainer. So NEAT is a huge component of your metabolism.
Yeah, so don't overlook it.
So the second question that Kelly asks is, what is a healthy weight?
Ooh.
Is this all dependent on person to person? Can you bash BMI for me, please? So we will not completely bash BMI, right? People want to bash BMI.
We'll put it in its place
Yeah.
where it needs to
for
be.
general population and most people, it's has merits.
Yes, and for a larger population
Yeah.
slice, if you look at America as a slice and the BMI is, I don't know, 35, 40, no
Yeah.
idea. But then like your average is awful, and you know damn well that all those people are not super muscular weightlifters that are going to skew the BMI scale. So like in that case, it's good to know like our country is overweight, and that gives us
Yeah.
some good data for that.
Yeah, most people aiming for their BMI versus being where they're at, and it is better.
Yep.
Right. So now for athletic population working out, it can really throw things off.
Yes.
So yes. So what? But I think what Kelly really wants to know is like, what's a healthy weight? How can I just some way, especially since she's a math girl, numbers person,
She's a
to
numbers
quantify
person for
things.
sure.
So weight is a decent one. It's a broader range because you could have people of different structures, right? So you could have a guy who's 5'10" with a super small bone structure and different frame, and you could have another guy who's 5'10" with a denser bone structure,
Gorilla bones.
and so someone with a denser bone structure is going to naturally be able to hold and handle more weight healthily, and they typically naturally can build more muscle easier. So there's a huge range there. So I think the best way, and I've actually been working on a post for this for our group, but is, and again, nothing's perfect, but as far as like being able to take a measurement, being able to track it, being able to have a general idea, is your waist circumference, your waist measurement. And when you hear this, don't say, "Oh, well, don't go by your pant size," right? Because I mean, even different like one brand could just say 32, and the other brand could say 32, and they could be
Completely
three
different.
inches apart, right? And where you wear your pants isn't technically your waist. So the best thing, we'll give you some numbers here, is taking your waist measurement, which is like right at the top of your hip bone. So for most people, it's going to be like where their belly button is, right? So
And that never moves, so that's a good anchor point. So you're always measuring in the same spot.
And then what it is, we'll give you kind of, and there's a lot of research on this, and it's pretty confident or a good way to make decisions of like if you're at a certain threshold, so if you're under X number, you're doing the best you can to mitigate any health risks based off your body weight, right? Which is a lot of stuff like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, all that stuff.
All the killers.
So so we'll have like a low range, like, hey, if you're here, you're good, right? Then a kind of a medium range that you're going to be, if you're at this place, you're going to be slightly elevated risk. And then an above range, if you're here, you're at an elevated risk. Like you'd want to come down and work on that, right? So for guys, it's going to be less than 37 inches. You're in a good place, right? Between 37 and 40, slightly elevated risk. 40 plus, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yep.
All right. So for female, it's going to be less than 32 inches. Then your slightly elevated risk is going to be between 32 and 37 inches. And then 37 plus is going to be a little bit of alarming, right? So we like that better because just depending on your frame and height and all those things, it kind of it's not going to take all those.
It's not completely exact, but it's good to at least have a ballpark.
And with body weight, again, we can maybe on another podcast give you some decent numbers with those, but the body weight one's going to be even more broad. And the great thing about the waist circumference is it kind of does take into account muscle, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, if your waist is smaller, so that's the first place we gain fat and the last place we lose it. So if you're leaner around your waist, you're not going to have much fat in the other places, right? Um, so that's a good number. That's the one if to simplify and focus on the essentials
That's
that
one of my favorite to track. Like if I'm going to track any measurement, it's just going to be my
yeah.
waist. Because then if it's going down, I know I'm getting leaner. If it's going up, I'm gaining weight, and
Yeah.
there's no real wiggle room or anything unclear there.
Yep.
So that's a simple one for anybody who does want to track a measurement. That's a good way to do it.
So, great question. So another one we have is from, let's go with,
You have to pick it. My
I
phone
know,
is
we'll go with
lost.
Josh Stinson. So he asked, favorite protein bars slash shakes, heaviest you've ever been, and how you felt
Ooh,
then. That'll be a good one with coming off the weight we just
yeah.
talked about.
Yep.
Healthy, and the mental health perks of working out.
Ooh,
And he's digging. He's
he's
getting his money's worth.
yeah, he is.
And your thoughts on meditation.
Ooh,
So,
I have
real quick on
yeah,
meditation, if you haven't listened to our podcast with Bubba,
yeah.
he
That's a
goes
really
into
good
a
one.
form of meditation, and we actually talk a lot about meditation on that. And yeah, we both meditation's great, right? It has stigma when people hear it, like has all these religious connotations, but it's just sitting
With yourself.
with yourself and like learning to let thoughts come and go and getting it into a relaxed state.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played with it, messed with it, and tried traditional forms. And for me, like walking's almost like my favorite form of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I just can clear my mind.
See, I like to sit. Like if I can just sit. Sometimes I'll like look out the. If I can go outside, it's great. But we back up to the woods, so if I can just look out the window, and eventually, I'll probably close my eyes. But it's good to just be able to take in the trees. But I can sit and just breathe for at least 5 minutes, and then usually more. But I'll set the bar low, and I do really well with that. Walking, I do well, but usually it's just me taking things in, or I have the dog, so not
Yeah.
much meditation with the dog.
But yeah, so meditation's great. I would, for most people starting out, I mean, there's like anything, there's a million things when you start looking into something that you could do. I would start with this, is what I started with that did the best was the app
Headspace. I
Headspace.
think it's free right now
Yeah, so that's a
with
good
everything
app.
going on. So this would be a good chance for everyone to give it a shot.
So Headspace. Then, so back to some of his other questions, the mental health perks of working out. So really, and Josh is relatively new at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So these are great questions. And at this point of not having been working out for 15 years, that's really all.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3 hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1 year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3 hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
The perks I get from working out that I'm looking for at this point, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, I kind
You're
of
not going to put on 25
max,
pounds.
yeah, I'm not gonna gain 20 pounds of muscle. I've kind of reached my genetic potential as a smaller guy. Slowly you can get some strength gains here and there, but for me, it's all mental, right?
Yep.
It's just like a habit that sets my day. It's like an outlet. You can count on it. It's not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
It does. The process, so the whole process I've been through of being insecure and in the beginning, and then you follow a plan and you execute it and you see what the consistency does. Then you take those mental gains and apply them to other aspects of your life,
Yep.
right? So that's a mental perk.
There's a lot of carryover with that. And then just the confidence that you can do something and you're able.
Yeah, you're physically capable.
Like that does a lot too. And I know like most smaller guys like us, that's why you started working out and to begin with, lack of confidence or whatever. And that's a huge one. When you're more confident,
Yeah.
like pretty much every facet of your life improves when you do have that confidence. Your job, your relationships, your workouts, just everything. So that's a huge one. And it's just straight up good for your brain.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then he asked that the heaviest weight you've ever been.
Oh shit.
So for me,
Yeah, go ahead. You go and then I'll go.
so it's always real small. That was my motivation for working out was being,
Mhm.
but then you get into working out and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get jacked.
I'm gonna bulk.
And you see other people and you're like, that guy's 200 pounds and ripped. I'm gonna be like that. So then you're just sitting there force feeding food, and next thing so for me, I'm 5'9", and I got up to like 182 was probably the heaviest, and that was while working out, but quote unquote bulking, and I was just lost, the abs were blurry. And in college, my freshman year, I didn't work out and do anything. I started gaining weight, just playing video games and eating, but I don't know what I weighed. But I got pretty, out of
Fluffy.
shape then, but I don't know. But so 182, and I felt horrible. I was bloated all the time and just never felt good. And, for me, like you lose muscle definition. So you don't even look like you work out. And yeah, it was, and I wasn't like that much stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for the heaviest I was.
And then just for reference, I'm normally, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So normally 155 to 160 most of the time.
So I'm like 5'8" on a really good day. We'll say I'm like 5'7.5". Just right in the middle. I'd say the heaviest I've been was 169, and I'm a small frame person. Like I'm a little dude, small joints. I don't have super broad shoulders or anything.
And we actually have probably somewhere on the website.
Yeah, there's pictures.
There's pictures of you when you hit that peak.
Yeah.
So people can see like.
Yeah.
You got a DEXA scan done,
Mhm.
and what was your body fat percentage?
It was like.
It was in the 20s.
Yeah, like 26.
Yeah.
Like way higher than I even expected.
So that's where a lot of times now people, especially if you're not taller than normal, if you're like.
If you're small.
Small people, don't understand. Like you could be 170 pounds and 25% body fat. And for a guy, that's overweight.
Yep, exactly. And so me, my leanest, like I hover around 150 right now. But like, 142 is me decently lean. So that puts in perspective, I was, 25 pounds heavier. And if I was shredded, I'd probably be in the 130. So like 135 realistically would be me with, an 8-pack.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like shit at that weight. That was bad. Really everything, sleep was bad. I felt bloated all the time too. Stuff hurt. always. Like my joints just
Yeah,
felt shitty. My workouts were awful.
that's a good point. Oh, I always had like lower back pain, knee
Yeah,
aches, and all that.
everything. My shoulders felt like complete
Yeah.
trash. So yeah, like carrying too much weight, you definitely will feel worse, and
Yeah.
most people will feel better when you lose your weight. Even for me, like I wasn't. It's not like I was 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Like I was still 25 pounds heavier than I probably needed to be, and felt terrible.
Yeah. But even for like an average, say 6 foot guy that's not naturally like small bone and scrawny, like they're normally like 180, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
most guys like that are like 210, 220, and 180 is a good place to be. So,
Yep.
you know, for most people, even just being 15, 20 pounds overweight, like most of the aches and pains and little stuff like that that people have, it can be gone from just losing that 15 pounds.
Yep.
You'll feel better. So, you know, and listen back. We have a couple podcasts too of people who have lost 50 plus pounds and 100
Yeah, I can't
pounds.
even imagine that.
You know, we had the one with Andrew Vault,
Yep.
way back, one of the earliest ones. You know, listen to that
We had one. Who else? Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen
We
and
had that one.
Eli,
Yeah.
and we got a bunch more lined up. So, you know, we'll
Justin will be a good one. We
yeah,
can finally get
Justin.
him on here.
So, yeah, and then back to the simplest question.
What's your favorite protein?
Favorite protein bar shakes. So here's the thing with protein bars and shakes, right? Like, especially now when we're like kind of cooped up or we're looking for something convenient. A lot of it's personal preference. So remember, there's nothing magical about them.
Nah.
They're the same as essentially eating a chicken breast, just more convenient. Maybe help satisfy the sweet tooth. So protein shakes, you know, any kind of basic whey protein, dairy-based protein is going to be the most tasty, you know, and then there's some vegan ones. If you can't do dairy, they're not going to taste as good.
Nah, they're a little gritty.
But ultimately, your best bet's like just doing a powder and then mixing it with like your Greek yogurt or oats or almond milk or water. Then they do have like the pre-mixed ones, the ready RTDs, ready to drink. And ultimately, those are great too. They're just gonna you're
They're
paying.
just expensive.
You're
They're like
paying for convenience.
$4 for a 50
Um,
gram shake.
So yeah, so I'll typically just use a powder, and then protein bars. Same thing if traveling, convenience randomly. I like, and again, this is personal preference. Some people don't like these types because they're kind of chalky, I guess. But like the Quest bars are my preference.
Or the Costco, the Kirkland brand ones, I think are decent.
Yeah, and you can find them anywhere and everywhere, and they're like high in. The problem with people, I had someone the other day message me about a protein bar. It was one of those Zone bars, and they're like, "This tastes too good. Is it too good to be true?" And it's like, it was like 300 calories, but it was also like 30 grams of fat, 40 grams of carbs. So it tasted good because it was loaded with.
Yeah.
It was basically like a Milky Way, right? So
Exactly.
and that's not why you eat a protein bar. Again, like if you want, you can easily work that 300 calories
Yeah.
in, but you could honestly, literally just have like a Twix instead or a Snickers bar. If you're going to have a protein bar with that much fat and carbs.
Yep.
The point would be you're struggling to hit your protein goal to get sufficient protein, so then you supplement with a protein bar or powder. So just make sure it's higher, like 20 to 30 grams of protein, and then the carbs and fat are like 6 grams or less.
Yep. I usually go for
8 at the most.
I use the Bomar we carry, the lemon and Greek yogurt. That's my jam, and it's like 40 something grams of protein.
Yeah.
Maybe about 40 total. So that's my go-to, just because it's easy and it mixes well and it tastes good. Bars, I'm a Quest bar guy too. The s'mores, if you can find it anywhere, that's what it's all about. But I don't really do too many bars. I'll get one every once in a while, but I don't do too many bars now. And really, for me, it's just a way to get some leaner protein in, and then I can have a little more flexibility in my day. That's why I do it, and it's really easy.
So hopefully that helps.
I hope.
Then we have, let me refresh here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I would help, but I don't even know where my phone is.
All right, so Alexis Deagle.
Interesting.
Wonder if she's of any kin.
Probably not.
Well, she asks about some body weight challenges to do when homebound to break up the monotony of home training. And yes, that's another negative of home training is
It's boring.
I mean, in general, you're limited. Anyways, there's only so much you can do with it. Then when you have no equipment, you're limited even more, which I don't mind, but I know most people do mind.
Yep.
So so that's where. Yeah, there's plenty of little challenges. Again, you kind of have to keep them simple, but you can track them, and that makes it more fun. So, like one we're actually going to have our gym do tomorrow.
Yep.
Friday and we have a lot of our online clients do. and this is a double. It's great because it's double. So it's burpees, right? Everyone knew that was coming.
Yep.
But just simply, you could say, I'm going to do 50 burpees for time, and then try to beat your time each week. But also, it's double, right? Because to get better at it, you're going to, by doing burpees more, by getting stronger and more cardiovascularly efficient on them. But also, if you get leaner,
They're going to
that's
be
going to
easier.
make you better at burpees. So they're just ultimately a good, it's a good test.
It's a good all-around measuring
Yeah,
stick.
for all those things that tie in most people's goals: getting leaner, losing
Yep.
some weight, getting stronger, getting in better shape. So the 50 burpees for time is a
That's a good one.
good test. You could also do like thrusters, same thing, like
Mhm.
50 thrusters with like a kettlebell or dumbbell if you have a little set of dumbbells. So where you squat and then press overhead for
In
time.
one motion, yeah.
So typically anything when you then attach it for time and higher reps.
And something like both of those
Yeah.
are a little more demanding
Kettlebell
on the
reverse lunge,
system.
alternating reverse
Oh
lunge.
yeah,
So we do that at our gym. You hold a kettlebell or something heavy, dog, puppy,
up at
whatever
the
you have,
chest.
and you do alternating reverse lunges for time. So you could either do for time, how like I'm gonna go for 4 minutes and do as many as possible, or like we said, pick a number. I'm gonna do 100 and time it.
And do that as fast as
So
possible.
one of those two, you can kind of make anything work as a challenge.
Yeah,
So
and then you can kind of plug stuff in too, because you can have a lot of variability with that
mhm.
and keep things a little more interesting. And we'll keep throwing, little stuff like that out there too. It just you don't want to have every single day have to be a challenge because then there's that expectation that that's what the workout has to be. So you want to keep your good base and then throw those in for variety every once in a while, maybe once a week. Is kind of where our heads are at on something like that.
Yep. So, and also too, like we like the shorter ones like that because I mean you're gonna smack yourself down and you don't want to be too
Yeah, I
brutal
mean, you
to
don't want to
yourself.
have a
So
challenge that takes you 30 minutes.
yeah,
Because that's just awful.
yeah,
And it's just like how many people are even going to do it if it's something that takes that
yeah.
long?
You're never gonna want to retest it.
Yeah.
Um, man, something else popped in my head along those lines. It kind of also reverted back to the first question. Um, But yeah, so and then like obviously wall sits. She mentioned push-ups, handstand push-ups, but again, the challenge for most people, like push-ups and handstand push-ups,
Those are tough. I mean, how many
are
people
super
can
hard. So
do a
just doing
handstand
one would
push-up?
be a challenge, right? So obviously, if you can strong enough to bang those out, then yeah, you could also do those the same way,
Mm-hmm.
like for
You
time
you
or
could do
reps or
like
whatever.
most push-ups in a minute
Oh, I know
or
what I
something like
remember.
that. What do you got?
So Diego had mentioned too, another good way to kind of amp up your home workouts and also challenges EMOM. So every minute on the
Yep.
minute, right? So you could, do exercise for a certain amount of time and rest a minute, or do like a certain amount of reps every minute. So you start a timer, say I'm gonna do 5 reps, and then you rest till top of the minute, do 5 reps again, and you do that for like 10 minutes straight.
Yep. So then your rest time's down, and
Yeah.
usually you'll get less rest as you go because your exercise takes a little bit longer.
Yep. So you'll gradually fatigue more and more
Yep.
because you're not completely recovered. It's really just a way to break up the monotony since you can't change the exercise much.
You can change the setup a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be throwing those into to the programming, so just enough to keep it interesting because it is again mostly body weight and not the most exciting thing to do.
Yep. And the last one we'll cover, because this one could get deep, so we'll try to keep it short. We want to keep this short. But Magella asks, do you battle with emotional eating?
Ooh, this is
So,
an interesting one because most people do on some form.
yeah, well,
It's kind of broad.
She's come from losing a lot of weight, like 60 plus pounds,
Yep.
and struggled with it. And we've talked about it on past
We have.
podcasts. So I probably have not in the sense of, to where it's really, really been a problem. It's funny because I would say I did at some point because of the fitness world and bulking, right?
Mhm.
And then you get, especially early on, like clean food, good food, bad food.
Yep.
So I was not so much emotional eating in that like I'm sad. I'm actually the opposite. If I'm stressed or sad,
You don't
I have
eat.
no appetite, dude. I have to like say you need to eat now. Um, so, but as far as like binge eating, and that there was a point where I can only have certain foods on the weekend, cheat day, and then you gorge and you overeat and then you feel sick, not because
Mhm.
I don't feel guilty, like physically sick from overeating, and then it's like I can't have these foods again until but that's not emotional eating. really in that sense. But it's still something you can struggle with. And then like with the whole I'm gonna bulk and just because I eat more I'm gonna gain more muscle. It doesn't work like that
Yep.
either. And so that's emotions are tied into that. And like
Yeah.
yeah, when I got up to 180 and just hated didn't like the way I looked, felt worse. So I'm literally just stuffing myself for no reason and feel
Hmm.
bad about it. That's in a way emotional eating.
Yeah,
But in
it's
this
such a broad thing because is stress eating the same as emotionally? I would say it kind of is.
yeah.
Um, most people have some form of that. Like they need, like I've dealt with it in the past, but normally I have a pretty good handle on what I eat. And if I'm eating something like cookies or whatever, it's a really conscious decision to do.
Yeah.
Um, but like I've had it in the past where daily stress was high. If I'm like really like acutely stressed, I'm like you, like I won't eat. I get sick to
Yeah.
my stomach and just
And
eating's the last thing on my mind.
I would say too where in my years of doing this, that's actually the genetic thing that I think how some people naturally struggle with their weight, like being
Hmm.
and like they gain weight easily, and then some people are the opposite and they have trouble gaining weight, they're underweight. I think it actually has more to do with how you're wired with
To deal with
emotional
stress.
with to deal with stress. Because everyone I've ever asked that's like struggles to gain weight, I've
Same thing.
literally 10 out of 10 times. I'm like, hey, when you get stressed, do you like have no appetite and you're the type of person where you can be like, I forgot to eat all day, and they're like, yes. And
Hmm.
then someone who struggles
To lose
to
weight.
lose weight and they gain weight easily, I'll ask them the same thing. Hey, when you're stressed, do you emotional eat? And they're like,
Yes.
yes. Right? So, because you can't defy the ultimately like you gain weight by eating more calories than you need.
Yep.
You lose weight by not eating enough calories, right? So there's not necessarily a gene like, oh, you just automatically gain weight easier. I think it's more connected with how we handle mentally. And yet some people naturally then eat more because they're kind of wired to handle
Hmm.
stress that
And a
way.
lot of times, like it's not conscious, really. Like
Hmm.
you just do it like, oh, I need this, I'm gonna get this, and it's like on a deeper level that in quotes, I need this food or whatever it may be. um, so yeah, like you're almost hardwired to deal with a stressful situation that way, and it makes you feel better to eat that food.
Yeah.
That's why we do it,
Yeah.
um, so that's something. And what helped me, and I became a lot more aware of it. And even now, like if I'm stressed, um, instead of eating something,
Hmm.
I've gotten a lot better at just, stopping, kind of being aware of the situation, kind of taking myself out of it, and
Yeah.
then I'll do some breathing, and it usually takes me where I need to go.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of time to get there.
And
So,
over the years, that's the great thing when you're doing health and fitness the right way. I've gotten in a really great relationship with food where even I used to eat stuff just because it was there. Oh, it's Saturday,
hmm.
and you go somewhere and there's like 9 things at a gathering, and you don't even like you never even would have woken up at any point in the
No,
next 365 days and been like, I want it X this thing. But then it's there and you're eating it because it's there.
some
But now
mozzarella
I've gotten to
sticks.
where like I know the stuff I really want. If I want something, I'll have it, but I can also say no, like no problem.
Hmm.
And that to me is like progress.
Yeah, that's
Was
a big thing.
yeah.
And no is just
And you ultimately know like what fuels you, what you feel the best with, when you want to eat for entertainment, when you don't, and that takes time to get there and stuff. Real quick, kind of off of that. So in one of our online coaching groups, we have a client. He noticed like I don't season food a lot, right? But it's funny, and I've been doing this for years. It's literally my preference now, and a lot of people end up this way. But I used to like use all the condiments, all the spices, try to use a bunch of combinations. But over time, I'm like, oh, I really like beef with just salt, right? Now chicken, I need like I'll use mustard or
Mhm.
hot sauce. But anyways, he noticed a lot of my meals weren't seasoned much, and then he's like, oh, I have to eat like that too. And we're trying to explain to him like, no, you can have. Like yeah, do whatever
Do
makes it
whatever you
work,
want.
right?
Yeah.
Shoot, if you want to have marinades, have those too. Just know you got that there's some sugar carbs in there, so you're gonna have to cut some calories from somewhere else. But like make it taste good so you'll eat it. Where I'm at took years, and it's just
Yeah.
my preferences. You may find eventually you end up there, but yeah, use spices and ultimately low calorie, no calorie condiments. Um,
Yeah. It's fun.
so yeah,
Yeah, that's preference for a lot of people.
all right. So that was a wild wind journey that we took you on. We didn't want to take too much of your time.
Nah.
So hopefully that helps some of you who are kind of stuck at home, and then you start thinking of these
You just need
things.
something to do.
So
Feel free to throw more at us too. We have decent amount of time on our hands, and
Yeah,
we want to engage with people too, especially when our job is literally physical engagement with human beings, and we're not getting that.
for sure.
Holla.
All right, y'all have a good one.
See you. As always, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to learn more, check us out at coastalfitnessva.com or garydeagle.com. We'll see you next time.